generals ride through a slit in the world. The wind, a constant, unseen companion, whips at the fringes of their felt hats, carrying the scent of dry grass and distant dust. Subutai, broad-shouldered, his face etched with a lifetime of sun and hard riding, scans the horizon with eyes that miss nothing. Beside him, Jebe, lean and quick, a coiled viper of a man, hums a low, tuneless melody, his gaze darting, less steady perhaps, but equally keen. They are not here to conquer, not yet. The very idea is a whisper, a distant drumbeat in the heart of the great Khan, not yet an order on their lips. They are here to learn. Roads, rivers, tempers, treaties. Then use that knowledge like a blade meticulously sharpened, its edge invisible until it strikes. Past Derbent, the ancient gateway between mountains and sea, rumor becomes map. The air itself seems to thicken with information. Each rustle of leaves, each wisp of smoke from a distant yurt, a piece of a vast, intricate puzzle. Tribes drift like scattered seeds across the vast Eurasian steppe. Alans, proud and warlike, in the foothills of the Caucasus, their fortresses clinging to rocky outcrops like barnacles. Cumans, Kipchaks, on the endless grass, their horse herds blurring the horizon, their nomadic camps temporary constellations of felt and hide. Merchant towns flickering along river routes, fragile beacons of trade, their wealth a magnet and a vulnerability. The Mongol column is thin, deceptively so. It is not an army of conquest in the traditional sense, but a scalpel. Light wagons, provisioned for speed, not siege. Spare mounts, each man leading 3 or 4, a living engine of sustained pursuit. Scouts, the eyes and ears of the column, are thrown far ahead, disappearing into the vastness, sending back cryptic smoke signals by day, the glint of distant fires by night, or swift riders with coded messages that speak of water sources and enemy movements. The order from Subutai is simple and terrifying in its implications. Do not get pinned. Do not allow the enemy to dictate the terms of engagement. Always maintain the initiative, always the option to melt away and strike elsewhere. Coalitions win wars. Subutai knows this with an instinct born of generations of steppe warfare. And so the Mongols unmake them. This is the true art of war, he muses, watching a dust devil swirl on the horizon. Not just brute force, but the subtle fracturing of unity. They send gifts, glittering trinkets, and bolts of silk to the Cuman chiefs. With the gifts come hints, whispered by carefully chosen envoys. Men fluent in the languages of the steppe. Men who understand the nuanced pride and ancient grievances that simmer beneath the surface of tribal alliances. Why bleed for the other? We will strike them, not you. Stand aside, and you will be spared the wrath of the great Khan. The Cumans, ever pragmatic, ever watchful of their own interests, peel off. Their vast herds, their fierce warriors, vanish like mist into the boundless steppe. The Alans, proud and independent, stand alone and fall. Their mountain strongholds, once thought impregnable, are bypassed or stormed with a ferocity that leaves no doubt as to the Mongols' intent. The cost is high for the Alans, a stark lesson delivered with unforgiving efficiency. Then the wheel turns. With the Alans broken, their lands plundered, their strength shattered, the messages reverse. The golden gifts become a prelude to a different kind of offer. The whispers now carry a chilling edge. Why share the steppe with those who stood by and watched your brothers fall? Why share the plunder when you can have it all? The Cumans, isolated, their temporary alliance a fragile thing, meet the same lesson, divide, then defeat. Their scattered tribes, once a formidable force, are hunted down, their leaders captured, their fighting spirit broken. The Long Recon is more than just a military campaign. It is a survey in motion. Every fort is marked on carefully guarded maps, every winding river's depth and current noted. Ferries are cataloged, their capacity and vulnerabilities recorded. Friendly chiefs, those who offered aid or information, are remembered by name, their loyalty or treachery filed away for future reckoning. Even as detachments strike out to eliminate threats or gather intelligence, the main column is a moving intelligence gathering operation, drawing a playbook for later, larger wars. Subutai and Jebe, often riding ahead with a small escort, personally inspect terrain, gauge distances, and test the temper of the local populace. They are cartographers of chaos, charting not just physical features, but the psychological landscape of their future battleground. Driven from the steppe, their homes burned, their herds scattered, the desperate Cumans ride to the Rus princes. Enemies have come who do not bargain. They are unlike any foe you have ever faced. They do not seek tribute. They seek submission or annihilation. The message carried by exhausted, terrified riders echoes through the wooden halls of the princely courts. Kiev, the venerable mother of Rus; Galicia, wealthy and powerful; Volhynia, a strategic crossroads. Old rivalries, festering for centuries, sleep for a season. The greater threat, the utterly alien nature of the Mongol invasion, forces a temporary, uneasy unity. A coalition forms, a patchwork of strength and ambition. Princes, their faces grim with the weight of decision; Druzhina retainers, their seasoned warriors, loyal to their lords; town militias, armed with whatever they could muster, driven by a fierce desire to protect their homes; and the remnants of the Cuman allies, now fighting for survival alongside their former rivals. Brave men who know the land behind them better than the land ahead, but who understand the stakes are higher than ever before. Subutai and Jebe, with cold, calculating precision, set the stage they dream of, a pursuit across distances that grind at discipline, that fray nerves, that expose every weakness in a diverse, unwieldy army. They understand the psychology of their foe. They show weakness, their main body seemingly retreating, luring the coalition deeper into the vastness. They hide strength, their chosen warriors, their heavy cavalry, always held in reserve, unseen, awaiting the opportune moment. And they pull the coalition eastward for days, a relentless, punishing march that stretches supply lines, exhausts men and horses, and slowly erodes the fragile unity of the Allied forces. A joint army, especially one hastily formed from disparate elements, is only as fast as its slowest and only as smart as its angriest. The Rus princes, emboldened by their initial pursuit, fueled by a mixture of pride and a desperate desire for revenge, press forward. Scouts, their faces pale with warning, report sightings of Mongol detachments melting away, of unusual formations. They warn of traps, of terrain that seems too perfect for an ambush. But pride, that most dangerous of human emotions, answers, "Forward, let us strike these invaders down." The lure of a decisive victory, of driving these alien warriors back into the steppe, is too strong to resist. The ground is chosen: Kalka, a small, unassuming river, flowing through the steppe, its banks gently sloped, its waters deceptively calm. It is a place of space, space to run, space to turn, open lines of sight for the intricate flag and drum signals of the Mongol command, and a river to slice pursuers as they arrive, creating natural divisions in their ranks. Subutai and Jebe have studied this ground, have envisioned this battle. They have walked it, ridden it, mapped it in their minds. The vanguard of the Rus's and Cuman army, eager for glory, lunges forward. They cross the river, their formations already beginning to stretch. Behind them, Allied wings, the different contingents of the coalition, lose alignment, their eagerness overriding their discipline. In front, Mongol wings, like the pincers of a vast crab, arc inward, their movements almost silent, a trap closing with terrifying precision. The false flight, the feigned retreat that has drawn the coalition deep into the trap, ends in an impact timed to the heartbeat of a drum, a thunderous, overwhelming clash. Arrows fired with terrifying speed and accuracy scissor the flanks of the unwieldy Rus's formations, creating chaos and panic. Heavy horse, the disciplined, shock troops of the Mongol army, hits the throat of the stretched-out enemy, smashing through their lines, turning the pursuit into a desperate scramble for survival. The coalition tries to pivot, to regroup, to stem the tide, but cohesion has already bled away on the long, grueling road, sapped by exhaustion, by lack of trust, by the very nature of their hasty alliance. Battles are lost long before the first shield splits, before the first sword bites into flesh. They are lost in the choices made in the days and weeks leading up to the clash. At Kalka, the loss is the sum of those small choices. The over-pursuit of a feigned retreat, the splitting of camps that isolated forces, the ignored warnings of scouts who saw the deception for what it was, all cashed in at once, a devastating cascade of errors. The Mongol method, honed over centuries, is a cruel master. One group, primarily the forces of Prince Mstislav, the Bold of Galicia, realizing the futility of open battle, digs in, forming a moving fortress of wagons and desperate will. They buy hours, then days, fighting with a ferocity born of despair. But the result is set. The Mongol encirclement is relentless, their patience infinite. Leaders are taken, some deemed to have violated Mongol custom or to be too dangerous to release, are executed under Mongol law, swiftly and without ceremony. Others are released, scarred and humbled, to carry a message, a tale of utter defeat, back to their people. The chronicles, written in the aftermath, remember a grim ritual for certain princes, those who had broken truces or shown particular defiance. They were suffocated beneath planks, a macabre table upon which the Mongol victors feasted, an object lesson in the cost of broken truces and disorder, a stark warning to any who would oppose them in the future. Let the camera stay on standards and silence. The point is already made. The broken banners, the unmoving, the chilling quiet after the storm. The wind now carries not just the scent of dry grass, but the metallic tang of the acrid smell of fear and defeat. The land itself seems to absorb the tragedy, holding it in its vast, indifferent embrace. The Long Recon ends with more than a victory. It ends with a manual, a living, breathing document of conquest waiting to be implemented. A manual written in dust, which passes open and freeze during the harsh steppe winters, which remain traversable, which rivers flood and when, their currents becoming impassable barriers, or opportunities for strategic crossings, which princes trust which messengers, which alliances are genuine, and which are merely expedient. How fast a mixed army, burdened by different objectives and varying levels of discipline, really moves. The answer, brutally demonstrated at Kalka, is too slowly. Subutai files the knowledge away in his formidable mind. Every detail, every observation, every strategic nuance. He is not just a general, he is a living archive of warfare. In 2 decades, he will come back with a full orchestra, a symphony of destruction unlike anything Europe has ever witnessed. The Kalka campaign was merely the overture. No garrisons are planted in the Rus lands. No new governors post rules on city gates. The Mongol column simply turns, like a tide receding, leaving behind a wake of devastation, fear, and invaluable intelligence. This was never about territory, not this time. It was about pathfinding and proof of concept, proof of their overwhelming superiority, proof that Europe, a land of fragmented kingdoms and squabbling princes, was vulnerable. The map is ready for a larger hand, for a grander design. Behind the textbook strategies and the grand movements of armies are people. Allies who switch sides because the wind of fear changes, their loyalties as shifting as the steppe dust. Scouts who judge water by color alone, discerning potable sources from stagnant pools, a matter of life of vast emptiness. Couriers who ride their horses like matchsticks, pushing them to the point of collapse, carrying messages that could decide the fate of nations. The nameless Mongol warriors, each a master of his craft, each a cog in the meticulously organized machine of the Cuman. Their discipline is absolute, their loyalty unquestioning, their brutality a tool, not a passion. The victory at Kalka belongs to discipline and distance, and to the decisions that hold men together when the road is long, when hunger gnaws, and when the enemy seems to vanish into thin air, only to reappear where least expected. It belongs to the relentless preparation, the meticulous intelligence gathering, the cold, dispassionate analysis of human nature. The rehearsal is over. The curtain falls on a stage littered with the broken. The silence is profound, the implications chilling. Next, the orchestra, Episode 5, Thunder in the West, 1236 to 1242. Kiev in flames, its golden domes blackened by smoke, its ancient stones crumbling. Legnica under smoke, the flower of Polish and German knighthood. Mohi at the bridges, the Hungarian army annihilated in a single, devastating engagement. And Europe, from the Baltic to the Adriatic, Learning a new word for fear, a word whispered in terror, Mongols.
Please subscribe and look for more documentaries at Swords and Shadows.